Now we got 8 viewers.
I'm going to say we are live.
We are live again. And this time online in more places. YouTube connected that time. Twitch is still working. We're still working on Twitch. Online in more places. YouTube. Oh, yeah. There we go. We want to get that D-Live audience in here as well. Twitch is having a little bit of trouble. There we go. Now we got Twitch going. Sorry for the hiccup, guys.
All right.
We should be live on twitch.tv/sync network. Yep.
Yeah. And we got 18 in here. We got 5 in the other. All right. Sweet. Yeah. So we have a Sync Network official Twitch page now. That's just /Sync Network. Twitch.tv/Sync Network. So either way, you're going to get us on both, and all these different platforms.
Super Salmon success. Nice.
This looks creepy. I don't know. Is it a stream or the potential dip to 18K on Bitcoin? No. Freaking people out here. But yeah, seriously, I mean, wild times. What a ride it's been. I hope you guys are doing okay with all this.
Yeah, I know that a lot of people got hurt in the last, well, it was really like a flash crash. I'm sure mostly everybody is familiar. If you haven't heard, you should look up the Wyckoff distribution pattern that's formed. I'd say there's like over 90% consensus from everybody that looks to be like what is actively happening, which is really interesting. It shows how the institutions are definitely here, and they're not here to play nice, That's why they can't defeat the long-term hodlers, though, right?
No, but they want to terrify them.
They want to terrify them.
Yeah, they absolutely want to terrify them.
And when the markets flash crash down like they did and, pop right back up the very next day, that is just a big sweeping win for people that are holding a crypto bond, because they make all that money. It goes into a permanent loss, comes right back, and they gained all right away. Nike Supply is asking you, Scott, is 37 the bottom or not? We are not financial advisors, though. We need to
the bottom's in when people stop selling. Well, it's really not even people stop selling. It's when people stop getting liquidated.
Yeah.
That's really what's, and ironically, when you see these flash crashes, it's a liquidity issue. The order books dry up. There's no orders on the book. And, the next order below it, the next buy order is, well, in Bitcoin's case, could be thousands of dollars below, and then it just drops instantly, because there's just no buyers. And what happens there is you start triggering liquidation events on these margin trading platforms, and there's a bunch of them, and all that needs to happen is for you to trigger just a handful of them, because then those get liquidated, which instantly sells their long position, which drives the market down just a little bit more, which then catches the next liquidations, and which maybe it was, for example, there's 10 liquidations that get hit on the first drop, which then fires it down to liquidate 100 people, which then rockets it down to liquidate 1,000 people. And it's this self-feeding cycle on the way down until you get through all of the margin trading, all the basically multiples, so it's like you're liquidating the 100x's, the 50x's, the 20x's, and then you get all the way down to, we're not liquidating on like 2 or 3x's yet, depending, on how smart you were. But I mean, it's still possible. So, but that's also like one more flash crash away, I think.
Yeah. We got some chats going on here. EDM Squirrel, hey man, what's going on? And he says that the Wyckoff video was so on point, but it's the play that they play every time, every cycle. Yeah. I think you're probably right. They definitely push the price down solely in order to liquidate maybe even specific targets. If they see that there's like a mega whale that is, needing to be liquidated, they're after his coins. And they'll manipulate the market to get it there. Let's see. Nike Supply says, gotcha. So you're saying just strap in and see. Yeah, I mean, really, unfortunately, that's the only thing you can do. And that's why, like our crypto bonds have been a really good product, I think. You can sleep at night because they're locked. You don't have to worry and fret. You just know that through the market cycles and movements, you're going to be increasing your position along the way. It's the slow and steady that wins the race, right?
Yeah.
Nike
yeah, definitely.
Says, I'm going to pull a bit to tether.
On top of that, I mean, just take I see in the chat, like, is it time to tether up? And at people talking about the bottom and stuff, and
can we
it's all uncertain. So what you should do when there's uncertainty is use the tools at your disposal, and that's liquidity pools, long-term investments, crypto bonds. Because let's give you an example. I added, I think it was at roughly $4,000 in ETH price. I added a bunch of liquidity to ETH USDT, actually. And during this crash, so that was at $4,000 ETH. And during the crash, when everybody else was down, 58%, that whole liquidity position, and it was a lot of money, was only down like 15% overall, which is nuts. So, and it's been earning an insane amount of fees. So not only was risk hedged, value was retained. And when things are going down in this massive, 50%, I mean, I wouldn't even put it past the markets to surprise us, go down another 50%, or pump another 50%. Like, I think whatever move is coming next is going to be big. But you want to be in something that's, where not all your chips are in one basket. It's like if I just held ETH, I'd be down 50% or something. If I cashed it out, I would have been like the smartest trader in the world. But like, it's you don't know, so you need to go with things that are making you money as everybody else is crying.
Yeah, I love the chat. They're just so lit today. Super Simon says, I'm just gonna close my eyes for a few days. Nike Supply Safe Moon 0 out today. Synthman wants us to do a virtual high five and pretend we're in the same room. Can you do that, Scott?
I think it's over here, right?
Yeah, give me a virtual high five.
Something like that, right?
Yeah. I broke.
I gotta like back up a little. Yeah.
You gotta be careful. I just knocked your whole arm off. Boom, right there.
Pretty much.
Yeah, guys, thank you for hanging out with us. We got 13 viewers now. It's starting to warm up. People are getting in here, and one of the things I wanted to mention today, a lot of people were margin trading. A lot of people we know, a lot of people that you guys know, I'm sure. I kind of want to just have like a moment of silence for them because they were very brave to be taking those kind of risks on. And the problem is that when you think of high risk and high reward, people forget the high risk part. And I just want to have like a moment of silence for these guys. My heart goes out to them. It does.
Yeah.
These are real people, real lives.
And for any of you, if any of you are watching this, and if you had a really bad last couple days, you're not the only one, and it's definitely not the end. And I'm not just saying that, just bullshit. I've gotten destroyed before using margin.
Oh yeah, this is your personal story, isn't it, man?
Yeah, man.
This is the real deal.
A bull market genius in 2017 on margin, taking like $400 after getting wrecked. Initially, learned to quote unquote learn to trade at the time, And it just so happened that EOS was pumping. The bull market took off right at the right time. Turned 400 into like 137,000. By the time it was EOS topped out, sold a bunch, thought I was a genius, and then as it was running back up for what I know now is like wave 5 of an Elliott wave pattern, I got extra long, took out like an entire position. It was like 3x my entire stack. Like an idiot, thought I was going to turn the 100 and something K into 1.5 million. Probably like some of you might have just thought. Because it's like, oh, if you can do it one time, you can do it again. And that's definitely the issue. Got wrecked in 15 minutes for my entire stack on that one. And I mean, I'll be honest with you guys, it was probably like one of the worst points of my life right there. And it also, in hindsight now, depending on how well you can keep it together, it's more than likely going to be the best thing that's ever happened to you, because it was the best thing that ever happened to me. In hindsight, I started to realize that, okay, well, first off, that's not the way you use margin. You're using that for completely in the wrong ways and for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people that are getting into crypto, they see the potential when they learn about margin. So they're like, oh, I have $1,000. If I go 10x, I have access to $10,000. And it's like, yes, technically you do, but that's what will get you wrecked. And it's if you wanted to go 10x on 1,000, you're only going 10x on $100. You know what I mean? So, yeah. And even that is kind of, see, even if you get liquidated, you're only losing the $100. You're not losing your whole entire stack. Does that make sense? And that's the way margin should be used. Should be used as a hedge. So you have whatever your portfolio balance is, you're only using very low margin at maybe 2x or 3x. Anything over that, in my opinion, is absolutely suicide. Even if you're a good trader, and especially 10 plus X, like it's a one-way ticket to Wreck City. You're not going to come back from this. You're going to lose all of your money, more than likely. And the exchanges know it, and they want you to do it. And the exchanges force like these giant sell wicks. They do scam trade you. They completely counter trade, basically the long and short positions of everybody, trying to get you liquidated. And they're very efficient at it. BitMEX is notorious for this. I think we've seen that tons of times, like just countless time and time again. And the other thing is, like, you should probably take into consideration that I kind of went on some soul searching after that and realized that it was trading, and this is like, it's a transfer of energy, right? You're trying to take somebody else's money. And number one, that's really difficult. And it's not necessarily the healthiest thing, because it's normally net negative overall, because you have fees that get taken out of the system, and then most of the time the traders just lose. But it's this energy transfer, right? That, especially on margin, I think it's like exacerbated on margin, because when you see that these giant candles up, right? That these explosive moves, what that is actually meaning is there's a ton of shorts that are getting liquidated. What that means is that there's a ton of people that are losing their entire life savings in that moment. It's such a horrible feeling, and it's probably how a lot of you guys feel right now on the opposite side, like when the longs get liquidated. So it's always somebody losing their entire life savings. We're just regular spot trading. You don't need to sell. You're not going to get liquidated. You're insulated to some degree, but like margin, it's just so disgusting where like people can lose their houses over this shit. It's final almost. It's like a fight to the death almost.
Yeah. It's so dangerous. And knock on wood, I haven't had to learn that lesson, but I'm more of a hodler. That's my personality type and my risk profile. But I understand the appeal. It's extremely appealing to me to do that. And, Cast a
Yep.
Pot too. He says the same thing. Luckily, he's never got into it. And, good for you. You shouldn't jump into something that you don't fully understand like that. And I know
Yeah, I think
I would do the same thing. I would wreck myself doing something that I wasn't 100% sure of. So I don't
yeah,
think
I mean it's
that's the best advice. That's kind of was one of the thought processes when we created this, because the appeal of being able to have a crypto bond, it enables you to hodl, right, without having to sweat about it, and it's just a much safer route to go. Yeah, I mean, everybody wants Doge to the moon, right? Everybody wants to ride their doggy coin up to the moon overnight, but not everybody can get rich overnight, right? So how do these projects actually build value? When you're into one of these moonshot coins that's just pumping out of nowhere because people are buying it, it's a zero sum game, right? The only actual funds into that project are the funds that people use to buy it. So if everyone tries to leave, it's just wealth redistribution. But in our project, by creating crypto bonds, we are bringing in outside wealth into our cryptocurrency to help you. I mean, that's the whole point of it, is to capture those gains that are happening from the work of others that they are actually doing. EDM Squirrel says, that's just the lesson people should learn when investing. No matter what the asset class, but never put in more than you're willing or better or afford to lose. I learned that during the dot-com bubble and have been margin trading tech stocks. That got me wrecked too. Oh,
yeah.
heck. Oh, heck is in the chat. I saw you earlier, man. Forgot to call you out. Sorry about that. Margin trading is whack. These are already the fastest moving markets. Don't be greedy. Yeah, I mean, you should be fearful when others are greedy, and you should be greedy when others are fearful. And right now, there's a lot of fear in the market. People are freaked out. Wouldn't you say so, Scott?
Yeah. Oh my God, yeah. But I mean, I'm kind of just having a blast right now. This
The
is fun for me.
traditional rules may not even apply right now, because with this
No,
with whenever there's manipulation, take your normal rules and throw them right out the window.
I mean, but you have manipulation from just every level. I mean, you have manipulation from every government in the world printing like uncontrollable amounts of money right now. Just, just you have just reserve banks. I mean, centralized banks. Just their balance sheets just like parabolic rise, and I'm like, okay, Bitcoin's crashing.
You know, it's
Buy the dip. Like, like
what's helped me over the years accumulate more and more? It's that I've always had the mindset of not wanting more dollars, wanting more crypto. Try to increase your position in Bitcoin or Ethereum or Cardano. I mean, there's a lot of great projects right now that have a bright future. I think there's room for all of them, right? We probably need more than one project, to be honest, in case, you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. What if Bitcoin did get hacked? Then everybody would flood to Ethereum. That's a true thing that can happen, because they're going to be rolling out Taproot. They're going to be rolling out scaling solutions for Bitcoin, and miners can choose to do whatever they want.
I just grinned a little bit to think about like what the gas fees would be like
if Bitcoin was hacked.
Died, and holy shit, like everybody just tried to get onto ETH. Oh
during the flash crash, I witnessed gas prices go over 2,000 gwei. I mean, you're spending half an ETH to trade an asset. That's crazy. I mean,
I had $1,000 gas I had $1,000 gas transaction during that. Yep.
You're trying to buy more ETH, weren't you?
It was worth every penny.
Yeah, buying ETH at 1,800 during the flash crash. It's a very nice feeling. You want to be able to do that. My personal strategy, I'll go ahead and give you guys a little insight into me. I don't like day trading or actively trading. I just hodl for the most part, but I do try to stay half in and half out. And whenever there's massive swings, I will move a little bit in one direction or the other. So I'm a turtle trader, if you want to, if that's even a thing. I don't know. I might have just made that up, but I'm very slow and methodical.
I would say one of the biggest tragedies of people is they never start taking profit. Um, and
Oh yeah, that's true.
it's just so sad to me that you can make, it's almost like in a bull market, everybody can get rich as shit.
Oh wow,
It's
crypto
just
Joe
there's a
saw.
few people that can retain it because nobody wants to even sell 10% of their stack because they're like, oh, if I sell 10%, that's really like selling $50,000 tomorrow. And it's like, no, it's actually just selling $5,000 today. And it's okay because it might be worth $1,000 tomorrow.
Yeah, the
And,
greed.
as things go up, you need to have some sort of a strategy where, and you just stick to it no matter what. It's like if price goes up 2x, I'm going to sell 10% of my stack. I don't care if it looks like it's going to go 20x. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Just stick to your strategy. And then, yeah, if that was the case, and that's pretty much what I was doing. I was selling ETH at 2,800, 32, 38, 40, 42, into liquidity pools at back on the way down at 4,000. And it's like it's not even a large amount of your whole stack. 5%, 10%. I think these things are going to go to over 10,000 overall, but you have to like be rational where it's like in an irrational market when things just go up just exponentially. It's like, okay,
Oh yeah. If
yeah,
when you're holding an asset and you make some gains, and you don't realize those gains, the motivation behind that for a lot of people is, well, it feels good that it's worth more, and you're like, well, I couldn't have bought this before, so I better hang on to it. And that sticky feeling that you get when the price goes up, when it's bright green, is hard to fight because you don't want to let go of it now, and then you ride it back down until it's not worth as much. But the nice thing is that, like, if you put your money into liquidity, you put your holdings into liquidity. And this is something we've been discussing at length over the V3 version of Sync. When you do add liquidity, as the price moves up and down, of course, you make all the trading fees along the way. And in V3, they have this thing called concentrated liquidity, where you can set, it's kind of like setting a stop limit. You set a very tight range for what you want to trade in. And if you set a range real tight, as the price goes up and down a few $100s, you go completely in and out of your asset from one to the other. I mean, very quickly, so you'll hit impermanent loss right away. But that may or may not be a bad thing depending on your goals. Now, as soon as the price goes back into your range, you're still making crazy fees again. But on V2, the range is set for like 0 to infinity, right? Or near infinity. So the price can go all the way down and you'll make a lot of fees. And it can go all the way up and you'll make a lot of fees. But you don't get the benefits of concentrated liquidity. But right now, you can't concentrate your liquidity with price swings these big. I mean, you just can't.
you can't because there's too many other people that are concentrated more than you and that are willing to pay the $300 to $400 transaction fee to remove and add liquidity to the different NFT, to go back and forth. And if you're a smaller person, you're not going to be able to do that because it's just going to cost too much just to transfer it.
Yeah, when it comes to V3, that's what we're talking about, because you can set a tight range on it. The tighter the range, the better gains you make, right? So it entices you to really try to predict what the price range is going to be. And as soon as you set it, it's just going to go out, because if you set your price range too wide, you're not going to make as good fees. From what I've seen with myself adding liquidity to V3, it is it's a lot of work. It's an exercise in just maintaining your liquidity in the right range pool, or setting your liquidity range so wide that other people who are moving their money, who are moving their liquidity tokens, they're making all of the fees and you're not.
Well, the thing that I see with it, which is kind of interesting, is it's actually targeting a different market of liquidity provider. So whereas like V2 is targeting people that want to passively earn on their income, they don't want to look at it every single day. I definitely don't want to look at my liquidity positions every single day, or even my crypto bonds. Like, I made them; they are what they are. It's set it and forget it, basically, for the most part. Uh, but with the V3 of Uniswap, it's almost made for traders, because
Yeah.
in order to understand really how to use it, you need to be a trader. You don't. It's not about being a liquidity provider, um, because if you're not a trader, then and you don't understand where the next, basically where the next where the next fib line is, that's where all the liquidity is going to go to, and you're not going to know where to move your liquidity to in order to stay in range. If you're just like a passive person just investing, so I don't know if they're going to get as much liquidity that way, because it's just, I don't know, it's a lot more work for a trader to do that.
Yeah, if you set like let's say the Ethereum USDC price, let's say you set your liquidity range $100 either way of ETH, you're going to make most of the fees out of that Uniswap pool, as long as it's within that range. You're going to make most of it. If you set your range even tighter, you'll make even more of it. And the people with really broad ranges won't make that much liquidity earnings, because it goes to the people who have the most concentrated liquidity. What I've noticed is that for liquidity providers, V3 kind of sucks. For end users,
Yeah.
it may cost less gas to execute a transaction than V2, but so far, most of the liquidity providers would rather be on V2 because they don't have to mess with the range.
You could get wrecked on V3 if you're not looking. Basically,
You can get wrecked on V3 if you're not watching it, or if you set your range too wide, people who with tighter ranges are going to make all the trade.
Then you don't make anything. So it's like, all right, I'll just go to V2.
Yeah,
it has more liquidity. So
and it has more liquidity. Right now, it has more liquidity, but for V3, it costs more. It costs a lot more to add your liquidity to V3. It's not as good for long-term passive income generation. Even the stablecoin pair. It seems like I don't make anything at all, hardly on it, compared to V2. So I'm in both right now, in USDC and USDT on V2 and V3. Gosh, that's a mouthful. You kind of have to really be in the scene to know what I'm talking about. But my V2 pair is generating a lot more income than the V3. But V3 would be better, theoretically, if you're an end user. But I'm still making all those fees on V2, so I don't really get it.
Depending on the time, because it flips back and forth, and this kind of answers the second part of Crypto Joe's question here about, can I go between V2 and V3? A lot of the time on V3 it says go to V2, it has a better price.
I must be missing that. Where can I go between V2 and V3? Any way to, as a spot trader, any way to choose V2 LP? Oh yeah, so yeah, Uniswap will default to the version 3 if you're trading, but if there's a better price on V2, it will automatically switch you back to V2. And so they're kind of they're diluting the amount of trades on V2 for their V3 platform, where liquidity providers are not rewarded as well. It's kind of I feel like it's almost a bait and switch.
They want people to use a new platform, but it's going to be a big, like, I don't want to use that as a liquidity provider. Like, I can't use it. I don't have enough time to use that.
Yeah, they're forcing the uptake of V3.
Like, forces me to sit on my computer and like watch the freaking price chart all day long, and it's like, I don't want to do that. I'm busy building shit, busy getting shit done.
So so we're talking about either having a way of automatically creating a pool that moves everyone's funds into the proper range on like a rebase period. So like maybe once a day, or anytime that somebody wants to run the recalculate function, we can move everyone's liquidity to a stronger position on V3, and then when it goes out of range, move it to another one. But you have to be careful, because if someone was running the rebase function during like a flash crash, the pool could get vampired out, you know? So, we have some interesting ideas that we're working on, but we also want to make sure that nobody can take advantage of it in like a bad way, With that crash yesterday, we learned a lot, because if we did do it that way, where we had like a rebase function that put all the liquidity into one pair and the price flashed down, suddenly it's out of range, and our pool, the sink's liquidity providing pool, would suffer a ton of impermanent loss, right? And then if someone rebased it during impermanent loss, that would be bad, because
Yeah.
you'd be all in dollars. You'd have sold out of ETH at like $3,000, and then bought your ETH back in higher or lower. Buying back in while you have a ton of impermanent loss is where you do realize real impermanent loss. So the other option would be to like have a really wide pool that just makes slow gains over time. But I feel like the people who are moving their liquidity around every day, they're gonna
make a ton of money. You can make a ton of money doing it. It's just a lot of work, man.
It's just a lot of work.
And I mean, it's less. I guess it's less work. Well, it's less risky than trying to trade, because you actually wait. You wait for confirmation with this one, where it's like, it's kind of like trading, and you're just trading your spot in the liquidity pool, on where you earn fees. So I guess it's definitely safer than trying to like buy high and sell low, because you just watch the price go into the range and you're like, okay, we'll move from here. Put it up here.
Crypto Joe, I actually want to bounce this off of what he says. He says the Uniswap governance token was not doing well recently in the last 1.5 months. When BNB was, Cake was, and Sushi was just a little better than Uni. I wonder if the community generally think V3 is a bad idea, like a downgrade. I think they spent so much time wondering if they could, they never stopped to think if they should, right? They have this awesome technology that's not suitable for the masses. It's suitable for the data scientist type person who wants to be trading. I stole that from Jurassic Park. Everybody knows that. But it's funny, because it's kind of true, right? The Uniswap V3 is so awesome, it's just not applicable to the masses. And
I think here's my theory on it, right? I think it's a call to every centralized exchange trader, because this is the first rudimentary order book in DeFi. That's basically what this is. It's an order book, in a sense. And it's decentralized, so you don't have counterparty risk any longer, and it's a little different, but it kind of gets to the same end. And this could be the beginning of the actual migration of all these traders and all these people that are on these centralized exchanges coming, flocking into DeFi, another wave.
Yeah, it could. I could see on another chain where this would even be better, because there'd be like a higher volume of trades, something like quick swap or something like that on Matic or Polygon or whatever they call it now.
Yeah.
But we've been looking pretty hard at Dodo. I've been looking at it since it first came out. Instead of an AMM model, it's a PMM model. And that basically means that they flatten the curve in the middle to give you more concentrated liquidity, but it's automatic. You don't have to move from one NFT to another. You get a liquidity pool token, just like on Uniswap, but your liquidity is closer to the current price. So whereas Uniswap goes from like 0 to infinity, Dodo will be dead in a year. Oh yeah, because it's a Dodo. The idea behind it's great though, because instead of going from 0 to infinity, it goes like 50% up from 0 to 50% out from infinity and squishes your liquidity in. I mean, that's how the math formula kind of works. That way, when you provide liquidity, more of it gets used. There's less slippage on Dodo, but that also means it's harder to move the price on Dodo. Bigger orders have to come in, and it kind of like lags behind the other one. So during a flash crash, I didn't look at Dodo specifically, what was happening to the assets on it. It'd be interesting to go back and do a bit of studying on that, because I would imagine that it wouldn't have crashed as fast, but once it did, it wouldn't have caught back up as fast either to go back up. So there may be some opportunity there, to catch Dodo.
Arbing between the two.
Yeah, arbing Dodo, because it's got to be slower.
Yeah.
It has to be mathematically by design, or just more money moves through it. What is Dodo platform really? An ETH DEX? Dodo's Uniswap, dude. It's like basically the same. The difference is they rewrote the math formula that calculates the shape of the bonding curve. The bonding curve is that arch that you see graphed out where the price of asset X and the price of asset Y meet. And as one asset goes up and the other asset goes down like that, it creates a curve on the chart.
Yeah, it's not linear. It's not linear. It's yeah.
Yeah, it's curved that way. Like, the price, if it was a straight line, every time you bought a little bit of like ETH for dollars on Uniswap, the price would spike up or shoot down really fast. There would be like tons of movement and tons of slippage and loss. Every time you'd buy at a loss. Every time you'd sell at a loss, and the liquidity providers wouldn't be able to keep up as easily.
Yeah.
So Dodo basically takes the curve and squishes it flat, kind of. So instead of a bonding curve, it's more like a bonding semicircle, right? I guess that's being that it's such a complicated. I'd need some visuals to really show you guys, but there are a lot of explanations on the Dodo white paper. I know that's not fun to read, but
I guess this is such a good segue into like how I know, like, because the markets are crazy right now and we're talking about slippage and the way these AMMs run, and that you can actually get like serious price volatility with them. We need to talk about like lending through the lending platform, because this is another thing that I saw people actually get hurt on, and it wasn't just margin trading, it was borrowing. They take Aave, Compound, these things where that you can deposit tokens, ERC20 tokens, and basically get a loan back. And as long as you keep a certain collateral to loan value, you don't get liquidated, which means they don't take your coins, and you can pay the loan back and you can get your full stack back. But the problem with these is that in a crash like this, your collateral's value is dropping. And you took a loan that you need to pay back and probably die, and that price isn't dropping. That's staying stable. It's not like your loan, your payback is dropping with everything else. So your collateral drops out. You basically get liquidated on the borrowing. And in the lending platform that is going to be coming soon, that wouldn't have happened to you if you were borrowing on a crypto bond, because it's not about collateral to loan maintenance level. It's very simple. You took a loan for X dollars, you have X days to pay it back. If you don't pay this back, that bond isn't yours anymore. Simple. Doesn't matter if there's a flash crash or a pump or anything in the market. That doesn't matter. Just pay back what you agreed to pay back. Simple.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So it's a far safer way for borrowers to get loans in crypto. And also, I mean, like, when you can earn a lot, because it's a passive income device that is, a lot of these are high yield right now, like super high yield, and the liquidity pools are pretty high yield right now too. So you have a long-term asset that's accruing value while you borrow money on it, and then you pay back, and it's worth more than when you actually got the loan on it. Like, it's really a no-brainer for you guys that are using Aave and using Compound and using stuff like this. Like, this is a better mousetrap. It's safer for you. That's the thing. You have less risk of getting foreclosed on. That's for sure.
Moloch just gave me an idea, and I'm gonna do some research. I had an idea. I had a really good idea. I will share it with you later, Scott. I'll keep it secret,
right.
under wraps for now. It was such a good idea. I wrote it down.
Keeping it under wraps.
I'll keep it under wraps. You know, I mean, it would be really cool if there was something that, you know, didn't exist right now in DeFi that could help everybody out and keep fees low, trades fast, and work on all chains.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah, it certainly would.
There's so many cool protocols out there, like Balancer. Balancer's pretty awesome. Dodo's pretty awesome. You know, Quick Swap and Bancor, they're all very similar to Uniswap. People don't realize how similar Balancer is to Uniswap. It's they literally take the same like code base that takes two assets and puts them together, but then they add like a third and a fourth and a fifth, and you get like a little pie chart, and you can add and remove liquidity to any one of those assets. And if you specify that it needs to maintain a certain balance, like say if you have three assets and they need to remain in thirds, like, you know, USDC, DAI, and Tether, and they all need to be 33% of that pie, well, that means if you have $100, you know, $300 in the pool, you're going to have $100 in each one of those. Will you build on Pulse Chain? We don't have to build on Pulse Chain. We'll be there when it goes live. Synthman. You'll be able to, you'll have mirror assets on Pulse Chain of all of your crypto bonds. So if you have crypto bonds and Sync today, when Pulse Chain goes live, you will have more crypto bonds over there. You'll have Sync over there. You'll have ETH or whatever they call it. You should probably dump it all and sell it back for real ETH. But, you know, that's not, it's not trading advice. I just say, you know, if you had a ton of assets on chain, you want to be on chain too, by the way. You know, having them in like KuCoin or something like that, or Binance isn't going to help you. It won't be yours. You won't get any assets. And is there arbitrage opportunity in Pulse Chain if the tokens get copied, but the project doesn't build on Pulse? See, so from my understanding is we're already Pulse compatible. When you go to our DApp, you just choose the Pulse network and all of our tokens are there. Richard, he made a really good statement and observation about it. He said, a lot of the projects that are not really DeFi will become very apparent because they will rug all their people over there on Pulse Chain, you know, to sell for ETH. So the price of ETH on, or whatever the ETH equivalent is on Pulse Chain, is probably going to go up really fast because all these little projects are going to be selling for it and then dumping it, you know. But it really makes me wonder, if you have liquidity that's in half USDC, you don't get 2 USDC, right? So all of your stablecoin over there is going to be worthless instantly. So the whole market's going to, you know, go crazy. I think it's all going to be a big mess, personally. I think there's too many variables to actually say what's going to happen. It's going to be really cool to see.
Yeah, I mean, if you sell it, if there's no liquidity, you're just, all right, you're wrecked. You should have just held it.
Well, you know,
if you get
USDC,
crypto, like, you should just hold free crypto more than likely, for the most part.
Yeah,
you know?
That's true. You should just hold it. But like, if you have USDC, like a lot of stable coins over there, they're not going to be honored anywhere else, because Coinbase is not going to give you $1 for every one of those copies of the real Coinbase dollars, right?
No, they're not ERC20s, they're PRC20s or something, right?
They're PRC20s. So in the Uniswap version of Pulse Chain, you know, people are going to dump that crap as fast as possible. So the price of ETH over there, or whatever it's called, is going to dump as fast as possible because people are going to, you know, dump massive amounts of worthless USDC tokens into those pools, all the pools will empty and flush. And I think people, I don't.
I'll probably end up buying a huge bag of it if that happens. Like, and just
Well,
letting it ride.
it's not an if, because if you have USDC, you know it's worthless. And if
Oh yeah, true. It's just worth just buy it. Yeah, because it's
you know it's
that's true.
worthless. So
That's
all
very
of
true.
every liquidity asset that has a USDC or USDT or DAI, even, because the DAI over there isn't being balanced between assets anymore. So all of the stable coins will be worthless on Pulse. Mark my words on that. They will have to be worthless. They will not be honored by anybody anywhere. You can't make free USDC coins or anything like that when they're centralized in their control anyway. Like Tether, you can't double the amount of Tether and expect it to work. The fear and greed index went to an 11 on Wednesday, which apparently was the lowest ever. Low greed, high fear. Yeah,
I bet if there was a fear and greed index in
probably broke the needle.
2010, I bet it was at negative 11.
Is there even going to be a bridge
in the
between
fucking,
Pulse and
yeah, it's like, can you imagine in like if you watching Bitcoin, this brand new technology, brand freaking new, go to $30 out of nowhere, make people millionaires, some people, and then crash below $1. Like you would think you were in the biggest Ponzi ever. At least nowadays in 2021, it's like, oh well, it's been around for 10 years. This shit happens all the time by the dip, you know. Where yeah, I can only imagine going back to 2009, 2010. Oh my god, that would have been terrifying if you had a bunch of money involved.
Yeah, you know what's interesting about the Pulse chatter? Just thinking about it makes my head spin, because there's so much. It will go sideways so fast. I mean, I love the idea. I think it's very interesting. I think it's an experiment everybody should partake in. You know, we're going to have our dApp support Pulse chain. Like I said, I've already looked into it. There's nothing we really have to do. You just add a new network and MetaMask, all your assets show up. Because we're fully DeFi right now, we're not on any centralized exchanges. There will be zero impact. Now, being on a centralized exchange would really throw a kink in the works, because we're like going to be P-Sync over there, right? But our project will work. Is there even going to be a bridge between Pulse and ETH when it goes live? My understanding is yes. From what I've heard, I doubt it, though. I sincerely doubt it. I think it'd be disadvantageous to them. What is the pros of... There's only one pro of Pulse Chain. It's just you get free tokens. It offers nothing. It's like a clone of Binance Chain or something.
Oh, it's a clone of ETH. So I mean, it's
No, it's actually a clone of like
right?
Binance Chain, but they took all the it's basically an exact copy of Binance Chain, except instead of loading a new Genesis block and starting over, they're going to copy the Ethereum chain and put it into like the Binance EVM or
I gotcha.
node.
You're gonna get free crypto when Pulse goes live. So why would you sacrifice crypto?
Should we sacrifice crypto for Pulse? I wouldn't. I wouldn't sell any of my crypto for Pulse. I mean, you get it free anyway. I mean, free things are usually shit on, you know, or they're labeled as a scam. You know, I'm sure that with Richard Hart's history, this is all going to be labeled a scam. Don't you get 10,000x if you sacrifice? I don't know, man. You do you. I mean, that may be the right call. Don't listen to me. I'm not giving financial advice. I'm giving my opinion.
I mean, what if they said that you get 1,000,000x if you sacrifice? Like, I mean, I don't know. Is 10,000x of something that's worth 0 valuable? Like, I don't know.
Oh, heck.
I don't know. I'm not saying it's gonna be worth 0, because obviously Hex is worth a bunch of money. I made a bunch of money on Hex. But
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
I mean,
Hex is definitely.
I wouldn't even shit talk Hex. I like it. I think it's a good idea. Hats off to Richard for building it.
I would say it's got bad tokenomics. That might be the worst thing I'd say about it, but that's not uncommon in DeFi. There's a lot of tokens that have done really well with bad tokenomics.
I wouldn't even say they're bad. I think they're decent, and I think that they could have been better. But at the time, I don't think the ideas were even there yet. We weren't there in DeFi. There's been a lot of progress in the space as far as what's been built in the last 18 months. It's very impressive. Like the new stuff that, like when he was probably programming Hex 2.5 years ago, there wasn't any of the shit that's out now.
Or it was it just wasn't really heard about. Like the first shrimp contract, that was such a really interesting and cool game when it came out, and it just spread like fire, dude. Like everybody was doing clones and copies of it because it was such a novel concept. And then some staking coins came out and they didn't really gain a lot of traction, and Richard Hart copied them, and through publicity got his to take off really well. But let's circle back around to the talk of like dexes and balancer, because for me personally, I've been doing a lot of research on all these, and I kind of like to get some of the community's feedback and feelings, because if I was looking at, I've noticed that lately, instead of using just Uniswap, I have gone to 1inch quite a bit. Sometimes the gas fees are higher on 1inch. They have that Chi token, which is very interesting. It's supposed to be able to recoup your gas cost. I wanted to see if anybody's actually used that, had like a lot of good luck with it, or if it's just a waste of time. Does anybody in here use it? Is anybody awake still?
I use 1inch. I think 1inch is pretty good. I don't always use it. Sometimes I forget about it, which is unfortunate. But it works good.
Scott, trading days, TA. TA for Bitcoin looks really bad for days to weeks. How break through the EMAs and former support levels? I'd say a series of bullish FA, like series of FUD, just brought it down. Moloch says, haven't even heard of it. So you haven't heard of 1inch. Crypto Joe, I used it. It was more expensive than Uni. Haven't heard of Chi. Okay. I don't have enough money to use Uniswap, 1inch, or any of them really. Oh, heck. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. You are the use case for why we should get on to KuCoin. We're looking at them very seriously about being on a centralized exchange, and they would be our partner. We want to make sure that we get our new token out first, just because we don't want to have to change what tokens they're trading with. That'd be a lot of double extra work, so in our unofficial roadmap that you can't really see yet, that's what we're really weighing heavy on our minds. We don't want two tokens on KuCoin with two liquidity pools to mess with. We just want one. And if we're going to be relaunching the token, and everybody's going to be able to upgrade it to the new token to support maybe Balancer, or support maybe Dodo, or Quick Swap. I mean, there's Gwei is a killer. Yeah. That's what we're considering right now. Ethereum's
for right now. It is for right now.
Now, ETH 2.0 may fix everything, and we have nothing to worry about. Uniswap reclaims its princely throne, and we everybody who uses Sync right now can retire. That may be the case, but we're also going to try to we're going to try to expand our horizons though, to make sure we can support more than just Uniswap. I would rather be on another chain.
And it's not just like, you have all sorts of different APYs in different places, and if all the energy moves to one, to Balancer or to Uniswap, it's going to be a necessity to be able to move with that kind of economic energy.
Here's something that I'm predicting right now. If a chain like Polygon and QuickSwap works well enough and fast enough with low enough fees to do better than a centralized exchange, it will be the death of them. It will be something that nobody cares about, because why would you want to be on a KYC exchange that's real invasive and all this stuff when you could roll over around in DeFi for basically free?
Well, I mean, that's pretty much like when I I got off of all centralized exchanges when Uniswap got popular.
Yeah, me
When
too.
V1 got popular, like a year, a little less than a year ago, or about a year ago, I'd say. That's when it got popular.
Yeah,
Um,
it's not good for high
and
frequency trading. So I can see the high frequency traders not liking it.
it
Um,
was great. It was great when I first got on, though, man. It's like
low
11
fees.
cent transactions, dude. It was great. I didn't care. No KYC, 11-cent transactions all day, bud. Like,
Yeah, I definitely miss those days.
oh,
I know that they'll be back though. I really have a lot of faith in ETH 2.0 and the staking protocol. These greedy miners. You know, that's the other weird thing. We had a day where the price ran up and there was huge volumes in ETH and these other tokens, and there was a lot of activity on Uniswap, but the gas fees were like 30 or 40 gwei.
mhm.
What's using up all the gas? So I look at the gas station. There's a gas station for you guys who don't know on Ethereum. You can actually see what is consuming the most gas, and it's always Uniswap. Nothing was any different. The only difference was is people were paying a lot less in fees. And then a few days later, lower volume, less people using it, but the fees were higher. And I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. Somebody is gouging and running up the fees. You know, what kind of person is paying like, 500 gas when there's no traffic?
A Dogecoiner.
A Dogecoiner.
No.
That's what it is. These dudes, so MetaMask is behind the scenes. They're working on an update that won't allow you to fuck with the gas. That way people can't put in stupid gas numbers. That would solve a lot of problems because a lot of people, they don't know and they just get scared and fear and they'll throw a high number in there. And that's why we were seeing 1,800 or 2,000, 2,500 gas the other day because people were pissing their pants. I mean, that's what it boiled down to. Oh,
Yeah,
heck.
well, it's funny because like I had a transaction. That was like the first time when I was trying to buy on that glorious dip, which we might retest. Who knows? But it was like 500 Gwei, and my transaction got stuck, and then it was like, all right, well, now it's failed. Great, okay.
Smash the
And then
button.
just so it doesn't fail again, it's like it was at like 740, and I was just like 875. There we go. Like,
Yeah.
it's like
Not just
because
not
it's
just one
like
higher, like
it'll
50
run
higher.
up.
Yeah, because everyone else is doing the same thing. And if we took
Yep.
that power away from people, it would help out a lot. Because there's a lot of people, I knew people, they're like, oh, gas is 500, I'll put 1,500 in. There's no reason to run it up that much higher. Oh, but the miners love it. One of my friends, he called me earlier today. He's a miner, and he's like, I went from making $2 per video card a day to making $8 per video card during that crash because people were paying so much gas. And it had like this, it's like a traffic jam. Even though the car wreck is off the road, there's still cars piled up for miles. And all for the rest of the day, the gas just lingered in this high state. ETH validators make a bomb. The user experience for Polygon and bridges and stuff still needs a lot of work. Oh heck, I completely agree with you. That's why I'm not like super gung-ho about the idea, because getting people from Ethereum to another chain is a big pain in the ass. It still requires a gas and moving them over there. We're working on some ideas to help ease that pain. Like even adding liquidity to Uniswap is a pain for people who don't know how. Our one-click add liquidity makes that a dream. It's so much easier. And if we can find ways to simplify bridging and make it less scary, it would be really nice if you could think you're on Ethereum and just like move those assets over to another chain and start doing all of those transactions behind the scenes. And people are basically effectively still feel like they're on Ethereum, like a real layer 2 solution should be, and use Polygon as a layer 2 solution. If we could abstract all that away and people didn't have to know about it, they were just like, oh, I just have to click this weird button and
Just
suddenly
click this button,
all my
sign a
trades are less.
transaction. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm thinking instead of calling it a bridge, we can say, okay, put your assets into the platform. The platform's operating over on QuickSwap. Then when you leave the platform, it comes back out to your wallet, and we can show those balances on the page so that people can understand it. And their funds are still safe because they're still on Polygon, right? And if we just abstract the bridging away from people so that they don't have to deal with it or see it, and they don't have to know, I think that would increase adoption so much. Because just
Yeah, it definitely would.
The idea of
Definitely
bridging,
would.
the idea of bridging is terrifying to people. And it's these kind of avant-garde ideas, you know, of thinking outside of the fence. You know, everybody else is like, I can make a bridge, make a bridge. But if we can make that process painless, that's going to be a huge win for us. Crypto Joe says, does Uniswap give any indication of the expected APR when adding liquidity? They can't. The reason is if a project was to rug or something, there would be no APY there to show. However, if you use, I think it's vision.apy or pools.fyi, pools.fyi works pretty good. Zapper.fi works fantastic. I recommend Zapper personally. It shows you the APY you can expect to earn from a liquidity pool on Uniswap. So that's a really great tool to use. Zapper.fi. Zerion.io will also show you a historical view of your liquidity positions and how much they were worth over time. Yeah, Zerion.io is also an amazing platform. I'd say Zerion and Zapper, the two Z's, use them together. They're great. Oh, heck. Crypto is just very early still. It's like using the internet in the year 2000. It is, man. We're on the dial-up days of Bitcoin. We're in the dial-up days of Bitcoin and Ethereum. It's just now starting to get that kind of user attraction that the internet did when like YouTube was still invented. The YouTube of crypto has not been made yet. The killer dApp is not here. You look at like Aave, that thing's like MySpace. It's so far. You look at Uniswap, it's like the MySpace of crypto. People are going to look back on it and be like, oh, wow, we all used that. Remember what a pain in the ass it was. You like how I say Zerion. Am I not saying it right? How do you say it? Salmon, tell me. Moloch. Moloch Evac says, yeah, really just about providing... Zerion? I'm pushing that I into it. Zerion.
Whatever, man.
Zerion.
You know,
Zerion.
Doge, Doggy. What's the difference, man? You know?
Is it Bitcoin or is it Bitkern?
Yeah, it's a Bitcoin.
It's a Bitcoin.
It's a Bitcoin.
What was it?
Definitely.
What was it that McAfee called it? Burcoin. It's not Bitcoin, it's Burcoin.
Bitcoin. Yeah.
Burcoin. McAfee doubles down. He is now saying Bitcoin to $2 million. Right?
Yeah. I mean, I got a prediction. Andy, you want to hear my end of year prediction on Bitcoin?
Oh, I
$0. No, I'm just kidding. It's going to zero, more than likely. No, I'm just kidding.
That's because the dollar will be worthless and you can't buy it for dollars, right?
It'll be infinity. Well, if that's the case, then Bitcoin's worth infinity.
Yeah.
But
it's 2 zeros turned sideways, right?
I don't think that this is I do not think we're entering a bear market. I don't think that. But we'll see. What I do think is we are coming up on volatility like we haven't seen since the early days of Bitcoin. That's like 2009 to 2011 type volatility. And I think those type of gains, which I know a lot of people are like, well, how is it possible? It's so big already. And I mean, I don't know. I in my opinion, the financial markets around the world are a lot worse off than people think, and that there's so much money that needs somewhere to go in the world that maybe we could see horrible sell-offs right here to freak everybody out just to come back and be at 75 to 80K in 2 weeks time. And then probably by the end of the year, 285,000 roughly.
Ooh. See, Super Salmon's quite conservative with his 80K call by the end of the year.
And I don't think that's the top either. I think the top will be over 2 million as well.
So basically, I think everybody can agree that the consensus is it's going to be over 70 by the end of the year. So, yeah, you should probably be stacking your sats today, you know. Any, really.
Yeah.
You know, let's see. I had some notes here. Let's see.
It does look like it's about to take a giant candle down, though.
Yeah.
I don't know. Not financial advice.
Well, I want to buy that next.
So
I need some more dips. Give me
them
dips.
Here's the thing, you know, I feel really good about these dips because of crypto bonds. Like, I'm not really worried about that. I have a bunch of liquidity positions. I don't really care about these dips from like, oh my God, I'm losing crazy money. I don't think these things are crashing and never coming back. So all this stuff in liquidity that's even down a little bit doesn't bother me because it's earning. And when it goes back up, I'll have probably 20 to 30% more crypto than I had than when I originally put it in there.
Nice.
And, you know, that's just any like liquidity providers. If you have like a crazy dip in the market and there's like all this volatility and it dips 50, 60, whatever percent, and then it goes back up to where you put it in, like you're making a killing, like an absolute killing. So, you know, people, you know, if you don't feel good right now, you're over leveraged. Normally, that's probably what I'm going to tell you. And don't get over leveraged, man. You want to feel good all the time. If you don't feel good all the time, it's not fun. It becomes an addiction.
Bigger Man's asks, do you think ADA will do well? I think so. I think ADA will do really well. I think there's I mean, you've got one of the founders of Ethereum that's made it, right? You've got Joe Hodgkins, whatever his name is. His name sounds kind of weird, but Joel, I think he's very competent. I like a lot of his viewpoints on a lot of things. I just think they're slow. You know, they're like really slow to get their technology developed. Charles, I'm sorry. Yes. I don't know who I was thinking of. Anyway, yeah, Charles is yeah, they're slow at developing. I think everybody knows this by now. You know, for the long hodl, they may be a massively valuable coin someday, but they have a lot of tokens in their back pocket too. So, you know, it's kind of like Solana. Solana's doing really well. Solana may be even better than Cardano because it's got a lower market cap, maybe better technology, and it's already available. They're rolling out faster. ADA needs a long runway. You know, it can be the best tech in the world, but if people don't use it, it won't have any value, right? So, you know, that's the thing to consider with Cardano. It would be a sad story to hear that kind of ending for it if just no one used it just because no one used it, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Sol has great potential. Polygon has a lot of potential. You know, I don't think it's ever going to come close. I don't think either one of them will come close to Ethereum's level of adoption. But if I'm proved wrong, you know, I'm still good. Pretty bullish on Elrond. I can't get behind Elrond as much. I think that it's a very interesting project, and it will probably do insanely well. You know, but I'm not involved with Elrond. EGLD, I think its token is. ... Oh yeah, dude, Polkadot's sick, man. Polkadot's the killer app. Kusama are so exciting. Amazing how much Luna and Terra have tanked since. At the risk of embarrassing myself here, I don't know what Luna and Terra are. Do you, Scott?
No.
Yeah, you just went like whoosh, swoosh right over our heads.
No, that's fine. I don't know, dude. There's so many coins. I can't keep track of all of them. I don't want to either.
Yeah. I have nothing to say about them since I don't know anything about them.
I'm really focused on really just DeFi tokens at this point. You know, things that will be like currently could work with sync, and things
Yeah,
that help strengthen the crypto bonds and DeFi as a whole.
if we could
So
get wrapped ADA, like wrapped Cardano, wrapped Solana, wrapped Polkadot, dude, that would be
yeah,
wicked.
yeah,
I,
that'd be awesome.
I've actually been waiting for those projects to pop up because that's an amazing opportunity for them to absolutely explode in value. Because even though Ethereum may be the biggest, most expensive, and slowest, if a token like that gets wrapped and put on Ethereum, it just blows up, man. Yes, please, Crypto Surfer says. Mate, you need to say to Frankie, create a personal magic random ability miracle to do the same in the polka space. Yeah. Solana's being promoted a lot. Got some Telegram buddies that are diehard fans and some close to the devs. It is being promoted a lot because I think they've been busy developing, and that's the really awesome thing. I think Polkadot's been busy advertising, marketing themselves a lot. They've climbed up high. They've climbed up high on the market cap list, and once you get high, you start talking about overtaking Ethereum or something, and that's really hard to do. Do you think China will put further restrictions on crypto? China bans crypto about every other month or every other year. So they're obviously just doing it to manipulate people.
I mean, like, if you think about it, I mean,
people in China themselves, they can turn on and off their population by banning it, right? So they know that if they say it's banned, a lot of their population won't touch it. And so they're doing that on purpose to manipulate it, I'm sure, to build up China's war chest in crypto. Go ahead, Scott.
Yeah, well, I mean, if I'm right, and a lot of other people that are way smarter than me are right about more than likely going to see the worst crash of in at least the last 100 years within the next anywhere from a few months to a few years from now. I think that the government, more than likely, of all around the world, they're gonna try to start banning them. It'll be like Europe bans crypto, basically,
because they like control.
Or then because it's going to be the destabilization of their currencies. So, and as people leave, they're probably going to shut off the exchanges. They're going to make it really hard to onboard your money into crypto. I think that would be probably the most bullish thing, because in my opinion, that's the beginning of the end of centralized banks.
I really would hate for that to happen, but there's definitely a possibility. So it's good to hedge your bets and to be somewhat involved with crypto. I feel like if they do crash, if they do crash, they will blame cryptocurrency. They will try to ban it. They will try to take it from you, and if you have it on an exchange, they'll just take it, then regulate it, and then
they need a boogeyman. They need a boogeyman to blame for their incompetence. The whole entire world's incompetence.
Dogecoin caused the collapse of the economy.
Yeah, it's going to be, these crypto thugs are ruining the dollar or the euro, and we need to round them up. They're all criminals, or some shit like that. It could go crazy, and at that point, it's I don't know. I think it's super bullish in general, because it's just these people are unhinged. We don't need to use their money anymore. Bitcoin to infinity.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? I mean, it's not like people just. I don't know. There's only so much that you listen to, right?
Once China gets, Molek says, I think once China gets their own crypto going, all the other countries will follow suit and regulations will just start rolling out. I don't know. The U.S. hates China in some ways. America's kind of hard to predict.
Depends on which politicians are getting paid by them, man.
Yeah. If the politicians are getting paid in Bitcoin, Synth says, later, dudes, I have to catch some rest later. Hey, thanks for joining us, Synth Man. Yeah, look at dropping the sync logo right there in the chat. Got the sync symbol. Synth is an OG. He's been here for a long time. I know we got a lot of OGs in the chat. I want to make sure you guys don't forget to hit the like button, the subscribe button, share us on your Twitter feeds, get the word out. It helps you, it helps us. You know, that's what we are. We're like a big family helping each other out. Yeehaw! Yeehaw! Says Synthman. This is a tragedy.
Fulcrum over here saying on this stream over here, when Lambo. You know, I think the Lambo's for everyone. When Bitcoin is worth $10 billion. How about that?
Dude, I love I love that Crypto Bureau channel with Guy. I'm pretty sure that's his name, Guy. And he recently did a video, I don't know if you guys saw it, where he suggested top countries you could cash out and move to based on where Lambo dealerships are. And so you could go to some third world country, make sure there's a Lambo dealership nearby. I thought that was genius. That guy's so clever.
Lambo dealership, and then you just put a Bitcoin ATM next to it.
He's
right?
like, Kuala Lumpur will require $1.2 million locked into a bank account there in order to become a citizen. But the downside is they don't have a Lambo dealership. You'll have to go, to this other country.
Yeah.
To pick up your sweet ride. And he went over Singapore. That was pretty neat. Singapore is looking baller, man. 10 years ago, I wouldn't have really thought about Singapore, but after looking at all these YouTube reviews, it might be a pretty good place to live, High quality of life there. Very clean water and air. A lot of freedoms. It's almost like, how was it described? It was like going back in time 25 years to like London 25 years ago, or the United States 25 years ago. Like a bright future and a lot of opportunity there. But the cost of living is starting to catch up with people. You used to be able to live for like $18,000 a year there. Now you need more, closer to $40,000 a year to live there. Will Doge flatline? Is that the question? I don't know. Scott, what's your thoughts on Doge?
No comment on Doge, man.
Bigger man's. No comment on Doge. I used to hold a lot of Doge.
It's just...
The supply won't flatline.
Yeah, the supply is going to go up forever. I don't know. It's a meme. Yeah.
It's
it doesn't really do anything better than other cryptos. It doesn't solve any real issues that Bitcoin doesn't. Really.
What year are we speaking? As much as I want to knock on Doge because I don't believe in it personally, you could say, well, it's got faster transaction times, it's available in a lot of places, and it debates and introduces young people who wouldn't give a crap about crypto into crypto so that they can learn lessons about the real thing and why it's such a good thing. That, I think, is an extremely good value proposition for why Doge should exist and be here. I know there's a lot of kids in right now because of Doge, because of TikTok, who otherwise wouldn't be here at all. And yeah, the memes and stuff, I think Doge will be legitimized by Musk. I don't think he'll legitimize anything personally.
No.
Right now, he's like the number one shithead on Twitter. Everybody is like so sick of his shit. They don't want to hear Musk. There's people calling for him to be banned from Twitter for his crazy manipulation. He's just a troll, man. I mean, he says a lot of funny shit, so I like him for that. But do I take anything he says seriously? No.
What'd you call him last night, man? Tell him, because I don't want to steal it from you. It is so true.
I've already forgot. It's all yours.
Oh, he's a Bond villain.
Oh, I say that all the time. Yeah.
He's a Bond villain because it's true.
You put
dude is a Bond villain.
Put a big scar across his eye or something.
Oh,
he's
perfect.
He's like
an eye patch with a scar on. Dude, oh yeah, that'd be perfect for him.
His little army of like mind-controlled pigs would like come out and start dominating and taking people over, like his little pig army.
Animal Farm. Come out. These fucking Marxist pigs.
His generals are literal swines. He's like Captain Porker. What do you think we should do? And they're like, let's invade the left flank. Oink.
Did anybody else read Animal Farm? Is that still like something you have to read in school?
Animal Farm is one of my favorite books by George Orwell.
It's really good. Everybody should read that. They really should.
They really should. I think it's
Especially this day and age.
yeah.
Like, hey, guys, like we don't want to do this experiment again.
Dude, Animal Farm is like a lot better when you read the cliff notes, right? Like what was actually happening in the real world when, like, the pigs are slaughtered, or the
Mm,
horse escapes to the field. If the
yep.
market does crash, this is bigger man's again. If the market does crash, how do you think it will affect house prices? Okay, well, let's think about that.
I think houses are in a bubble as well. But you know, it's a weird thing, right? Because this bubble isn't just like
Not a
it's not
normal
like the other
bubble.
bubbles, right? It's a complete runaway. It's a complete decoupling where it's okay. We just money printer really is just going broke everywhere. It's just printing, and the rates are staying zero. Money's getting lent out at 0% to banks, who then basically lend it out to corporations at almost no cost as well. They pump their own balance sheets by pumping their own stock. Everything just keeps going up and up and up. And the other thing that corporations are doing now, like corporations and hedge funds now, are buying real estate because it's another place to put it because they realize what's really going on with like the stock market.
Dude,
And
I like this crypto surfer guy. He's talking about the guide stones in Georgia. Have you ever heard of those, Scott?
no,
The guide stones in Georgia, there's like these 6 or 7 pillars. It looks very similar to Stonehenge. An anonymous trust fund bought some land and built a giant monolith. How long ago was it, Crypto Surfer? And nobody knows who put it up for real. And these giant monoliths have like 6 or 7 languages on them, and they all talk about depopulating the world. Serious question, crypto bonds. I get the feeling as an NFT that it's hard to find a buyer on OpenSea or Rarible. Difficult to sell for a little less than a crypto bond is worth. Okay, so the guide stones were erected in the 80s, probably. On the crypto bond question, Crypto Joe, there's been 55 ETH in volume on OpenSea and Rarible. That's a pretty good amount of churn for crypto bonds, but there are a lot of people who are looking to do long-term holding of them as well. So it really depends if one is desirable, if somebody sees the artwork on one and they're like, that one looks really cool. In fact, I think the last crypto bond that I saw minted yesterday, dude, it was a rare one that had some really sick combination of artwork on it. It had like the leopard print with the glow around it. It was really awesome looking. I was like, man, whoever got that one just got lucky. I mean, they really did. When you got something like that, do you want to even mature it out? Because it'll always accrue those liquidity provider funds fees. I mean, way beyond the maturation point. And if it's got some rare artwork to go with it, that's kind of like your trifecta right there of value. I've seen several of those.
mm,
I've seen those. The ones that look good sell better, for sure. The ones that have like more generic or the common, those tend to get matured or sell at a much lower value. They're just not very desirable. Could be C as an NFT? Jokes out. Maybe the wiki could say so. Yeah.
mm. Well, uh, um,
I mean, I think that the crypto bond market is something that is somewhat limited by the gas fees right now. I think that with ETH 2.0, with our cross-chain support that's coming up in V2, I think that that's going to be a big shift in dynamics, right? People are going to feel a lot more comfortable trading back and forth. If we can get high-frequency trades going on NFTs, that would be wicked awesome.
Dude, that would be absolutely insane. And I think it's going to happen. I mean, it's really just with the V2, then that's able to happen. Um, you know,
Yeah. Crypto Joe says, AmpNet, I got the impression from their telegram that they have been a bit sad, disappointed about the sync partnerships. Nobody has expressed that opinion to me. They've been pretty stoked about it. You know, we got them a lot of exposure. They got seen on a lot of different places, and nobody has ever expressed that opinion to me. If anyone did, they were just fudding. Because that's definitely not something I've seen on a day-to-day basis. Who are the guys maturing crypto bonds in the last few days? 40% negative. I don't know, dude. Crypto Cabo-chan. Crypto Joe. Okay, good, yeah.
People that
you know, it's like those war on rugs. They spread a bunch of lies about us and other people, and then what did they do? They created their own token and then rugged everybody. Like, literally. You look at Safe Moon, it's almost like any token that's got an oxymoron for a name like that, you know that there's just doom coming around the corner. Sorry, can someone explain Tether to me? I'm confused to it. You're confused on Tether? Tether is just a stable coin where one Tether equals $1. So that way you can exchange it in DeFi. So I think Bigger Man comes from a centralized exchange. Yeah, that's it. You know,
there's a vault with a bunch of dollars in it. So every time more dollars go into that vault, more Tether gets printed.
Yeah.
Basically.
And theoretically, you can swap it back out for real dollar. Yeah, it's always worth $1. Yeah. So it loses its intrinsic value, not its numerical value. You know, you'll need more Tether to buy a house soon, for example. You know, just like you'll need more dollars to buy a house soon. The nice thing about having a stable coin is that you can take your dollars from one exchange to the other without having to route through a bank and pay all those fees.
Yeah.
Or put it in your crypto wallet and you can take it offline, you know.
Yeah.
It's like a digital dollar. It's funny. We've had all these stable coins for a long time, and the government's like, we're trying to make a crypto dollar, but then they can't. You know?
Who in their right mind that has enough knowledge about crypto is going to go and work for the government? Like, I would not. You couldn't pay me enough. Like, you couldn't pay me enough. Like, they said, Scott, we're going to give you $10 million to come work for us. I would laugh at them. Like, nah.
I know, dude, but there's people who drink the Kool-Aid and they're just like, oh, I work for the government. I make minimum wage. I'll do whatever they tell me.
Oh, it's crazy.
You know?
It's crazy.
If they paid you in crypto, would you? If they gave you 1,000 Bitcoins?
Oh, dude, 1,000 Bitcoin, man. But no, I mean, because they would probably make you make some evil thing that tracks everybody.
Of course they
would. You know, it's not going to be good. You know, it's going to be absolutely nefariously horrible.
They'll have their little on-off switch. They'll have their little on-off switch. They can freeze anyone's account. You know that's all going to happen.
I don't think that's really debatable anymore, EDM Squirrel.
It's debatable by what percentage fiat Tether is backed.
I mean, it was audited. It got audited, and I don't think that the state of New York would have dropped the case like that if there was some massive shenanigans going on.
Unless there's even more massive shenanigans going on.
Oh well, unless it's the New York, like the New York DA is fucking involved, but you know,
I'm talking about a lot of money. Suddenly they're like, hey, you know what? This Tether thing, it's really not. It's actually safe. Yeah.
It's like, listen, we will give you 10 million monopoly tethers, you know, if you make this lawsuit go away. And then there'll be real tethers.
They're like, upon further review of this case, this is completely unnecessary. Let's just forget this ever happened. Bye. Yeah, that's real weird how that got just kind of swept under real quick. Can you talk about being a synchronaut? What's involved? I missed the very end of last week's stream. Dude, yeah, we gotta talk about the synchronauts. If you want to join the synchronauts, ask one of the synchronauts in the Discord. Say, hey, are any of you synchronauts in here? And see if they'll let you into the Discord. There is a secret synchronauts Discord and you can get in by asking. And once you're in, you'll help build and spread awareness of Sync in other places. It's a really good program. We're still bootstrapping it up. We need more help. We need more people in there. But if you're going to join, you got to understand you're going to be an active participant. This is like the real deal. You got to be a go-getter to get in there. If you're not comfortable, joining new telegrams and spreading the word and talking to people, going into other discords, I mean, this is for people who are advocates of Sync Network, and we're going to create a really powerful driving force that's going to get us noticed everywhere. So we do keep this on the down low. It's in the middle of our really long streams like this, and we just want to let people know, the guys who are like you, who are hanging out with us, we're working on something really cool here, and we need it to be kind of on the down low, but at the same time, we need more people to join it. We will mint you 50 billion tether if we drop the case. Yeah, that was probably an evil laugh like that went down.
Well, the fucked up thing is, I mean, they're probably saying, well, make it 100 billion because the New York Fed said that they were going to rig it and they were going to give me $50 billion.
Super Salmon says at 0.4 cents, or at 4 cents, we need more attention. Release the Syncronauts. Yes, we're going to release the Syncronauts in mass everywhere. I'm surprised we've weathered all the storms really well. And at 4 cents, you think about it. There was people, they were forced to liquidate. They were forced to sell because of the recent market crash. All these little coins, all these smaller market cap coins have taken a hit like this. Like you look at Shiba and stuff, they took it a lot worse than we did, So much for being a pump and dump coin. Most people took the opportunity to buy more Sync during the dip. I get you. Hours per week. So since it is like a volunteer system, we want people who are active. I don't want to get caught up in thinking of like hours per week. They work more like events, right? So like maybe once or twice a week, we're gonna be like, hey everybody, we're gonna go onto this Reddit. We're gonna promote it. We want you to share it. We want you to comment on it, and just take your conversations that you normally have about Sync over there and talk about it naturally. We're not trying to like build a spam network or something like that. Something that actually shows other communities we mean business, and the people we're shilling. Yeah, Super Salmon, we're going to be shilling, but at the same time, it's not going to be like, oh, Sync to the moon, just spam. Just take the current conversations we have over there, and when their communities, low-key shilling, when they come in and say, are you guys real or are you just a bunch of bots? Like, we can all start talking to them. We're like, no, dude, we're actually real. We're here, and you need to check us out because this is some serious shit going on over here. You guys don't want to miss out. And when they feel the power of our community and they understand how big we really are, that's when our moment of just like launching off the pad's going to take. Easy 100x. Get in before it's too late. Yeah. I don't like hyperbolic statements like that, but like those things do attract some people. I think most people are pretty immune to them by now. I think the Doge crew has just really got people tired of seeing that. They say, oh, easy 100x. Yeah, even if it's true, you're competing against those other groups who just say the dumbest stuff. I will make some
easy 1000x. Yeah. Program to pump, man.
Program to pump. We have the pumpamentals. We have the technology. Need to find a big community or Discord of liquidity providers and chill there too. We have some very serious liquidity provider activity in the works for our lending platform. That's okay. I don't even know what we can and can't say about that, Scott.
There's not much we could say about it, but I mean, there's not going to be, in my opinion, it's not even my opinion, there's not going to be any problem facilitating loans day one.
You hear that, guys?
Simple as that. It's simple as that. Like there won't be any lag facilitating loans starting day one.
You hear that, guys?
I found the liquidity, and that's pretty much all you guys need to know about it. Yeah. as of right now, but it won't be any problem. And here's the thing: it's a better hedge to get a loan on a crypto bond than trying to go take your crypto and get a loan on your ERC20 tokens on Aave.
Yeah.
That is way more risky. There's so much extra risk associated with that. Or, basically getting a loan by margin trading, because that's basically getting a loan. Yeah, there's better ways to do it. We're building them, and we're building them where you're not going to just get instantly liquidated. That is a horrible feeling. It's like, it is a awful feeling. I know that feeling because I've been there before. I haven't been there in 4+ years, but because I've learned my lesson from that very expensive lesson, but needed lesson. Stop doing this stuff. I don't want to see people get wrecked like this anymore. There's a better way to do it.
Nice, Crypto Surfer. Nice. Got recruits to the Syncronauts already. Nice. We'll make sure someone reaches out to you. Oh yeah, when we hit all these groups, it's like the Link Marines. Like the Link Marines were a really inspirational movement. They were a powerful subgroup of people who, between the 50 or 60 people in the Link Marines, drove Chainlink to be a top 10 crypto. Now think about this for a moment. 50 people. We only have 16 or 17 in the Syncronauts right now, and we're growing. When we hit 50 people, that's when we're going to start hitting these other places, and we're going to try to repeat the success of the Link Marines. It makes no sense, really, that Chainlink was ever a top 10 crypto. It's an oracle. It's only useful to other developers. The developers market is there's 2,000 projects and 200 developers out there, right? So there's 2,000 projects that could theoretically use Chainlink as their customers. Are you going to use any Chainlink to figure out a flight plan to whatever? No, you're going to use Google. So nothing in Chainlink is useful to any normal person in crypto. They've created a false narrative. But we're useful to actual investors. We're useful for people who are trying to build their life savings up in crypto safely without getting scared from flash crash events like what happened yesterday or the day before and scaring people to death. We're a good value proposition, and we're going to try to repeat the success that they had running up to a high market cap value. And if we can do that, and we can do that together with your guys' help, we're going places, all of us. And you know what I'm talking about. Guys, that's the reason
to the moon.
We create Chain To the moon, guys. I asked before, but I still don't get it. Where'd Network get money to give sync tokens as rewards at crypto bond maturity? Okay, Crypto Joe, we can explain this pretty easily. So when you create a crypto, first off, we'll just run through the whole process really quickly, okay? Our tokens are like a lot of other projects where they mint new rewards. So the tokens are created by people who create crypto bonds, which cause a shrinkage in supply because those tokens are burned. When the crypto bond earns the liquidity provider interest over its lifetime, once it matures, the original amount of sync that was burned is reminted back plus rewards. So more sync is created than originally existed in that moment. So you can create more crypto bonds or sell some of your sync and create another one or do whatever and roll it over, right? That metric of the total supply increasing and decreasing is what sets the interest rate.
Yeah.
So our tokenomics actually work off of the total supply. As more people create crypto bonds, more sync is burned, which drives the rate. So that's how we calculate and control the total supply without overinflating. Because the more rate means there's more tokens missing. Less rate means that there's more tokens being created.
Yeah, it's like, if only 1% of, or if like 5% of people are getting 100% return, well, it's not really 100. It's not 100% inflation. It's only it's like it's a fraction of that.
Yeah.
So if you if you want to make good passive gains, you should be in a crypto bond. And if you were in a crypto bond over the last, 2 weeks, man, you made out pretty well overall. Like you're not down as much as you could have been.
It helps to diversify yourself if you create crypto bonds. So by networking ourselves across a lot of different liquidity pairs, right? The sync token is matched to like Chainlink, for example, TrustSwap, AmpNet. All of these tokens are kind of like tied and bonded together with sync. So the crypto bonds overall market value won't go down as much because they're of the network effect. Link Marines. Okay, so EDM Squirrel says, yeah, the Link Marines have been great. For sync, we're going to need more presence on 4chan Biz, though. Maybe you can help with that. Yeah, the Link Marines have been great. Pipo Sabama. Guys, can I ask you guys to just give me your opinion on a project? If we know about it. If we don't know about it, I can't give you an opinion. So you'd have to say the name of the project. You can drop the name, I don't mind. Just this once. Surely sync is quite inflationary. Over time, more sync tokens. Yeah, but the only way to create more sync tokens is by burning sync tokens. So a lot of sync tokens have to get burned to create more.
Yeah, well, it's the mechanism.
Crypto Surfer says, for sure, investing_pro. Investin_pro. I don't know what that is. It's a platform where you create your own fund. People invest in it by some NFT mechanism. Yeah, I've never heard of it. So I can't give you an opinion. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't know anything about it. So I guess Crypto Joe, because I want to like really kind of come back to this really quick so you fully understand this. Inflation in any economic system, and I went over this last time, isn't a horrible thing. It's about the rate of inflation. And the rate of inflation in Sync Network is driven solely by, well, that looks crazy, huh? Look at that. When you,
I just teleported in and out. Forgive me.
It was like you were like stepping through my body, actually.
I forgot that's the side. I jumped out the wrong side.
Felt really good. I just got split in half. It's like a magic trick.
It's like
it's about the rate of inflation, and the way the math works here is it's a supply and demand based. So the users of the network are the ones that are actually setting the overall inflation rate of the network. It's not arbitrarily chosen. It's based upon the users' exchanges with each other users and with the network with crypto bonds.
Yeah.
So it's fully up to the user to come up with, as a collective, what the inflation rate should be. And that's based on their interactions with the network. So, and it was designed that is basically the driving factor. As crypto bonds mature, people have all these gains. Well, immediately the rates rise up again to drive the incentive to lock and then actually drive
the technical and mathematical equations for it are outlined in our white paper. They were gone over by an actuary to double check our work. I don't know if you're familiar with what an actuary is, but they're like a mathematician that assesses risk and probabilities. And they made sure that we don't have runaway inflation. We actually did AI modeling. Frankie did a lot of that. The modeling showed our future supply over time, and it kind of made a nice S-curve. I think Scott showed it before, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's interesting because like it's all models, right? They're all models.
Yeah.
And that would be awesome. I would be okay with that. Be okay with an S-curve. But you could have a whole another scenario take place where Sync and the crypto bonds and what we're building with the lending platform and the V2, if we can actually get good traction on this, I have a feeling that Sync will be extremely deflationary for a good amount of time, because it's the secondary market. The crypto bond market is the desired market. All right, it's hard to see right now because it's just brand new.
Yeah.
But the potential of a secondary market in crypto for financial assets is so unbelievably big. The potential for it. So I
Yeah.
do think that there will be a run for crypto bonds, which will significantly reduce the supply for like a long time. But
Oh yeah.
that's my opinion. I don't know if that's going to take place, um, or that's one scenario that could take place. But we'll see.
We got some chatter
We'll
here.
see.
Crypto Cabo John. He says, would you guys consider starting another Telegram group along the lines of the Sync Network Small Cap Gems Shield group? Have a pinned message with what we are, how we complement other projects rather than compete, and allow people to discuss other projects. Shield groups attract a lot of people. Maybe not always the best quality of people, but as extra exposure and at a stage where we're struggling to gain on 2,400 to 2,600 wallet holders. I think if Scott, you're more into the Telegram scene than I am. I don't see why that would be a problem at all. We have a Discord group for that, I think, already.
Yeah, there's a Discord group that pretty much covers everything that you're looking for. Uh, we're trying to keep. I'm trying to keep things organized, and it's been a little bit more organized on Discord. Telegram gets like things get lost there. Things can get buried. You get one message, and then all of a sudden you get pulled into all these different chats, all these scam chats and
Yeah.
stuff, and next thing you know, you lose it. It's archived.
Yeah,
Um,
Telegram's pretty tricky that way when it gets big. If you're following just a few projects, it's not a problem, but it quagmires and snowballs really quickly. It's good
yeah, I
for
agree.
having is Telegram's main purpose, I always thought, was to get short messages out to a lot of people. That was its strength, its strong point. Organizing discussions and stuff, it's not very good for. So if you're going to organize a group, Discord's a much better place. If you're just going to post announcements, Telegram's actually a better place than Discord. Crypto Kabochan says, could create a bit more volatility than we're used to, but an easy way to get some new guys looking at the project. Some will get it, some won't, obviously. Super Salmon says, that might be something to bring up with the knots. Moloch says, it depends on how popular it gets, I think. I think you're right. Like, popularity is definitely a big impacting metric, but we're trying to reach that 50 syncronauts so we can do a hard push. So right now we're in the organizing stage, gathering information, getting people trained, and understanding that we don't want to spam anybody. We don't want to create like a blind shield group. We want to go in with effort and intent and be highly organized. I actually found a couple of other people who've created such groups before and created some very large projects such as Dex Tools and TrustSwap, and how they created their organizations, and they've kind of been advising me on how to get all this rolling. So I think it's going to do good things. We just got to get the people in there to begin with, and with really just as little as 50 people, we can make a huge impact. And if we scale that up to 200 people, wow, yeah, we're going to have some real power when we go into a forum or something and just let everybody have it. We can protect ourselves from being downvoted so that people can't drown out our message.
Mm.
Speak about
Well,
TrustSwap. What could I
we
speak
would.
about TrustSwap? I mean, I think Jeff, I talk to him off and on every now and then. He hates centralized exchanges. I tend to agree with him. I see their benefit and their use case, but yeah, I mean, TrustSwap's a pretty good platform. They've been building, expanding, acquiring, growing. Obviously, being such a big organization that they are now, they're having some growing pains, right? It's hard to move forward with one project and another project at the same time. I think that's why we're seeing the big delays in their swappable platform. They're not able to meet the deadlines that they set up for themselves. And, in crypto, it is hard to get everything to work perfectly the first time. You don't get second chances when you're launching a smart contract. If you don't do it right, you get rugged, people get their funds stolen or exploited, and it's dangerous and bad. So
Yeah.
part of their brain, and I understand this, it says we can get it done by here. We'll get it done by this point. But then you get there, and you're like, okay, well, this unforeseen thing happened. Now we got to rewrite something, and that's going to set us back a couple more weeks. It's unfortunate, but it's the way it is in crypto a lot of times. EDM Squirrel says, isn't that what's been done with the AMA and Infinity gains? The AMA, isn't that what has been done in the AMA and Infinity gains? You're okay. So EDM's talking at Crypto Kabochan. Maybe we can drop news and discussion there more often, but maybe Telegram isn't the right place. Yeah, those people are looking for Doge coins, instant gratification coins, pump and dumps, whatever you want to call them.
Doge father.
The Doge father, yeah. Crypto Joe says, the NFT marketplace that are slow to launch, trust swap. Swappable, I mean. Yeah, that's what I was referring to with swappable. Yeah, their platform, we've talked to their devs. We've seen some previews of it. It's actually a lot bigger project than I thought that they were making. It looked very simple on the surface, but when I got a bigger sneak peek of it, right, there's a lot of little bells and whistles. They have email notifications that happen when you get an asset sold or a bid on it. So there's a lot of like subsystem stuff that I don't think they really anticipated that was very important that they had working, right? So it reminds me a lot of OpenSea, actually. They borrowed a lot of inspiration from OpenSea. So they're kind of like recreating OpenSea, but it's going to be decentralized. That's awesome. That is what's needed, because OpenSea is it's run by a bunch of pricks. I mean, it's a great platform. There needs to be a DeFi one where people can't tell you what you can and can't do on it.
Yeah, pretty much.
I've noticed a few projects have done it recently. It doesn't need much more moderation, as people are free to chat whatever they want. Just my thinking at this point. It's a numbers game until we gain some traction. And then, delete the group. Sync sells itself when anyone understands it. That's the truth. We're just trying to build awareness. I mean, I don't think that the Link Marines ever lied about the narrative of what Chainlink was. They didn't tell people, oh yeah, you need to buy it. It's going crazy because every project's going to use it. They were exaggerating its use case. Definitely, they were doing that. But I don't think they were trying to scam anyone, because they actually deliver on all of the technological promises that it's supposed to do. Right?
Yeah, and they do have a use case. Like, they are useful.
They're
useful to they're useful to devs. Like, seriously useful.
Yeah, and that's and having a good use case is important. Our project has a really good use case. It's important to get other people on board with that idea and to get that knowledge in their head, because people are resistant to learning, and unless you just spoon feed it to them, they're never going to get it. We got a conversation going on in our chat here. Crypto Kabochan says to EDM Squirrel, I've noticed a few projects have done it recently. It doesn't need much moderation, as people are free to chat whenever they want. Just my thinking at this point. It's a numbers game until we gain some traction. And then, delete the group. Did I just read this? All right, done working, heading home. Thanks for streaming, guys. Super Salmon #1 in the chat. You're my #1 salmon. You know that, Super? You're my #1 salmon. I promise. No other salmons before you.
My #1 salmon.
You're my #1 salmon. Oh.
Solomon.
Solomon. Gave me a Twitch heart. Oh. I really appreciate all of you guys being here today. Scott, are you about ready to wrap things up?
You took the words out of my mouth, man. I am getting a little hungry. I want to stretch. I hope you guys stay safe out there. Seriously, don't stay over leveraged. Just try to use your head. I think that these are going to be some really, just super, super volatile times, because I think people with a lot of money are trying to take your bags right now.
Yes.
Your ETH bags, your Bitcoin bags, your Sync bags, and they're going to try to freak you out. And in my opinion, diamond hands make the most money. The long-term toddlers make the most money in this game. So
Yeah.
just my 2 cents. Guys, just be safe. Definitely don't use margin if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah. Avoid.
Yeah, like just leave that exchange, okay? Because it's a bad idea.
Yeah.
So
Thank you guys for tuning in. I hope to see you in the Discord. Leave me a message over there. Holler at us. Don't forget to spread the word. Tweet us out. Get the exposure up. And I want all of you to have a really great weekend.
yeah, take it easy, guys. We'll see you next week.
It's going to be all right. Peace, guys. Peace. Almost out. We lost Scott. Now you're losing me. Later.